Okay, so good morning and welcome to Dunat Kumpan Lane. My name is Losang Tendrol, and I will be filling in for Geshe Dhargey, who will be here around 10:40 or 10:45. And so what I thought I would do is to give just a general introduction to two questions. Why is it important to study the topic of emptiness? What relevance does it have to us in our daily lives? And secondly, how to meditate on emptiness. So I think that in some of the previous classes, we kind of did the deep dive into what emptiness is all about, what it means. And I thought it might be worthwhile to just take a step back. I'm sure Geshe has also gone over these concepts, but I think it's really important to be 100% convinced that studying emptiness is relevant to how we conduct ourselves, to the kinds of choices we make in our daily lives, how it can help inform our choices. And then secondly, to talk about how to meditate on emptiness so that it's something that we can integrate into really every moment of our lives, something that we don't just do on the cushion, but really with every action of body, speech, and mind, we can be meditating on emptiness. So I think we should start by just settling in and regaining our balance. So I invite you to sit comfortably wherever you may be, whether you're here in this beautiful Dharma Center, or whether you're joining us in community through the comfort of your own home. Just relax, sit comfortably. Allow your breath to remain in a natural open state. And that natural rhythm that has a direct connection with your mind. And I invite you to create a very safe, comfortable place in your mind where you feel protected, where you feel sheltered and loved. think that we each and every one of us have within us this infinite potential for love and compassion, that we each and every one of us have the potential to be free from suffering. And in that sense, we're all equal. We're not divided by race, religion, color, gender. We're all the same in having this incredible potential to break through all of these limitations that are merely projections from our own minds, social conventions. Mere illusions. Take a minute to just think how wonderful it would be if my mind, if I were free from the tyranny of anger, the poison of hatred, fire of attachment. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings who are like our mothers were also able to abide in that state of equanimity. And it's not enough to just have these beautiful aspirations. Instead, we need to act, to engage in everything that it will take to make that not just a dream, but a reality. And this is something that we can do, just as there are infinite Buddhas around us here and now. We too can attain the state of enlightenment. We too can make the world a better place, not off in some distant future, but right now, here, in the present moment. Talking about moment by moment transformation, transforming suffering into joy. And it all starts now. invite you to please bring your attention back to the sights and sounds of the room around you. Take a deep breath. Okay, so Geshe has been talking about emptiness, and emptiness is extremely important on the path. So it's a central core of the Buddha's teaching. So the Buddha taught about the negative emotions, right? And so the root negative emotions are ignorance, attachment, anger. There are many different ways of describing all the different kinds of negative emotions, but they can be boiled down to the top three being ignorance, attachment, and anger, right? And so of these three, I think at a very intuitive level, we can relate to the idea of attachment and anger without too much thought. Ignorance is, however, more difficult to understand, right? So ignorance is the root negative emotion, and it's the misunderstanding of the way things exist. It's a misunderstanding of reality, right? And it's this misunderstanding that chains us in cyclic existence. It's what causes us to go round and around in this wheel of life. So there are two different components to this idea of ignorance. So there's self-grasping and self-cherishing, where self-grasping is a belief in the true existence of self and phenomena. And we'll go into this in a minute. But it's a belief in the true existence of self and phenomena. And then related to that, there's this feeling, because we have that inherent belief, then we experience self-cherishing, where self-cherishing is the feeling that me, myself, they were the center of the world, right? And nothing else counts because I exist. Everything must satisfy my desires, must revolve around me in the center of the universe. Okay. So studying emptiness is not just some kind of academic or scholarly pursuit. It's extremely important because it colors, because our ignorance is what colors the way in which we relate to ourselves. It relates to how we perceive and interact with the world around us, right? So when you set out to pursue the study of emptiness, right, to figure out, hey, maybe things don't exist the way we think they are. It's like questioning the way things exist, and it's almost like we're in a prison of our own making, and studying emptiness, asking questions about how things exist. It's like cracking open the gate to our prison. It's opening the gate just a tiny bit. Or it's as though we're in a very dark room with shades pulled down, blocking out the sun. When you start questioning how is it that things exist, it's like opening that dark shade, opening the shade just a tiny bit and allowing that summer sun to penetrate the darkness. So ordinarily, as we go around our daily lives, go through our daily lives, we find that we're just inhabiting a world that's filled with permanent, independently existing external objects, right? And we take them for granted at face value, right? We're just looking around the room and we see paintings and fans and chairs, and we just interact with them, assuming that they're going to be there, that they're there now, external from our minds, right? We just think, okay, there's a tripod there, and that the tripod will be there. The tripod was there, like before we came into the room, was the tripod there? Oh, we assume it was there, right? When we leave the room, well, the tripod, is probably still going to be there in some way or form or shape or another, right? So we just take them for granted at face value. We don't stop and say, how did that tripod come into being, right? Who made the tripod? What are all the different parts, the materials, and the manufacturing process? We don't have to think about that, right? We just say, oh, there's a tripod. That's good, right? The tripod functions the way we define a tripod. So we don't think about how the tripod exists any further than the fact that it's there. So instead, according to the teachings on emptiness, another way of thinking of phenomena is to think of it as a complex network of interrelated phenomena. Okay? Everything is joined together by this network of different causes and conditions coming together in many different ways, often ways that we don't understand right now. And each of these phenomena in and of itself is empty of any inherent existence. Right? So each phenomena in and of itself is dependent on causes and conditions. Right? So the bottom line being that there's no essential nature that you can point to and say, oh, this is it. I found some kind of essence that it's like that big, aha, this is it, right? Like so the process of understanding emptiness, and we'll get to this later in the second half of this little presentation, how to meditate on emptiness. It's an analytical activity where you try to dissect, any phenomenon, whether it's, a book, cell phone, a table, right? You just keep going and try to find some kind of unchanging essence that you can say, oh, that's it, I got it, right? So that's kind of the analytical process that's involved. So if, instead, if we take things at their face value and we don't try to, even at a, kind of gross superficial level, if we don't try to understand how things exist, if we don't ask that question, then dangerous states of mind can arise, such as, when we, and this is, more obvious when we talk about this in terms of like social conventions as it applies to society and our relationships with one another. When we think of, like with stereotyping, right, or race-based biases, okay? Those ingrained tendencies, to look down on others can come from this sort of superficial judgment, that tendency to just project our attitudes, on something without realizing that the origin of that attitude was just a bias that's inherited from our surroundings, from our environment, from our culture. Okay, so if we're not we're not asking those questions, then it's easy to just kind of, see the world through those biases, through those stereotypes, right? So that's why it's important, to check to see where are these thoughts coming from. There's no inherently bad person out there, right? Just as there's no inherently beautiful person out there. It's all, from our own minds. Labeling, this as a beautiful person, right? Labeling this as an ugly person. To give a very simple example, right? But that's really important to be aware of how the mind works, how the mind is projecting these attitudes on things, right? So like the other day, I was trying to find a primary care physician, right? I was trying to find a doctor. So I'm looking through this list of names of doctors. And my own inherent prejudice, was very apparent to me because I'm looking through the names, and what am I looking for? Obviously, and to be honest, I was looking for a name that I could somehow relate to. So I was thinking, well, so I'm Asian, right? I was looking, are there any Asian names? I couldn't find one. And then I saw some other names that had, like five syllable first names, and then the last name was also like 5 syllables, and I couldn't pronounce it. I couldn't relate to it. That's based on my own ignorance, right? So when I choose the doctor with a name that I couldn't understand, I couldn't pronounce, due to my own ignorance, my own blinders, right? That probably wouldn't be my first choice. That's a form of ignorance, right? I grew up in America. The kids that I went to school with, the kids I went to college with, were mostly white Americans. That's what I grew up with, right? So that's my little worldview is like, okay, I'm going to look for a doctor whose name was like Paul Smith. So again, that's just a simple example, but it's so ingrained in me. That's the first thing I looked for. I wasn't going to choose the name of the doctor that was, it had 15 characters in the first name and 15 characters in the last name. I was like, oh. But, I'm sure the doctor is perfectly qualified, fantastic doctor, but due to my own ignorance, it wouldn't have been my first choice. So I still don't have a doctor. And another thing is, to be careful, because it's when we talk about emptiness, it's not saying that things, don't exist, that conventional existence doesn't exist, right? When we say that things lack true existence, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. And that's important too, because again, going back to this idea of race-based stereotyping, so we were talking about this is a specific context, where in some cases people may come to a community center. In this case, it was, let's say, a Buddhist community center, right? And they may not feel comfortable because people in the room don't look like them or something, right? That's not really the truth. No, not so true at Tendrol, right? We have a pretty diverse group of students and community members, but that's not the case in all Dharma centers. And what happens, or what has happened in the past is, I'll give an example of somebody who attended a retreat at a Buddhist center that was mostly attended by, the person was Asian and everybody else in the room was not Asian. And the Asian student went up to the teacher later and said, oh, I'm feeling this a little bit uncomfortable. I'm feeling like the teachings aren't relating to me, to my experience. What should I do? And the teacher's response was, oh, well, basically just get over it. Okay, it's all just emptiness, it's all just brooding. Why are you so hung up on this? Why are your feelings a barrier? Why are you feeling looked down upon? So, that's using emptiness in a way that is incorrect, right? We're not saying that the conventionally existent objects don't exist. We're not saying that you can't just like throw your hands in the air and say, hey, it's all cool, don't get upset. That's not the way it works, right? So another reason why understanding emptiness is important is to realize that anything is possible. That's why we can achieve Buddhahood. Right? It seems so impossible, but anything is possible if we understand emptiness correctly. If we can turn our worldview upside down, inside out, upside down, right? If we can give up our self-grasping, if we can give up our self-cherishing, then we open up those prison gates completely, right? It's not just a crack. Now it's like, woo, wide open, right? Wide open. Let all the prisoners out. Right? Wide open, you let all the zoo animals out. Wide open, you let all those cattle that are waiting to be slaughtered for your hamburger, open those gates, let them all out, right? Anything is possible. Things that we think of as impossible become possible. Things that we would normally imagine to be impossible according to our comfortable worldview, our tendency to draw clear limits around things, right? We love to categorize, we love to define things in ways that are easy for us. And then we just accept that stuff and go for it, right? We're very happy putting square blocks in square holes. We can do that, right? We don't have to think it through every time. We like to put circular blocks in circular holes, right? And then what do we do when somebody comes with a triangle? What do? Right? We just, very difficult. Right? And yet that happens all the time. That's what problem solving is all about. We like those categories. We like things neatly defined. I do a lot of work in animal shelters, dog rescue work, okay? People always tend to go for the pure breed dogs. Okay? You go to the animal shelter and you see a dog that looks like a pure breed beagle. You see a dog that looks like a German Shepherd, right? People love those dogs because it's something they can identify with. We know what the characteristics are of the breed. So you're like, oh, okay, I can kind of get my head around that. I know I have a starting point to relate to this animal because I know what the breed description is, right? Then you see a mixed breed dog. A lot of people will still adopt a mixed breed dog, right? But then they go back, there's a tendency to go back, now you can do a DNA analysis. And you can spend $100, $150, whatever it is, right? You can do a DNA analysis and figure out exactly what went into that dog, right? So maybe it's a mixture of 5, 6, 15 different breeds, right? And somehow, what I'm trying to get at is that it's almost like a need to try to understand what goes into something. right? So we've got the block, we've got the square block, we've got the circular peg, and then we got the triangle, right? That's what a mixed breed dog is like. It's just like a whole mixture. It defies, you know, all the nice, neat categories that we feel most comfortable with. So when we start thinking of how things exist from the perspective of emptiness, thinking that they don't have any abiding inherent nature to them, that rather they're just this coming together of causes and conditions, that things rise in dependence on and in relation to one another, then that's a very liberating, a very powerful and liberating perspective. So with that, you know, anything is possible when you can break through those categories that were that tendency to create and cling to these neat categories. So everything is possible. So climate change, right? Wildfires, drought, the pandemic, you know, why not? Why not? It goes against, you know, that inherent, our sense of like that, you know, our sense of order, our sense that I should be able to get up today and make it through the day. I should be able to go home, go to bed, and nothing bad should happen, right? It goes completely in the face of that sense of a sense of normalcy, I guess, that we cling to. So there's definitely a close relationship between ethics and the development of wisdom. Right? Wisdom being the mind that sees reality as it is. Right? Wisdom being the mind that overturns, overcomes, uproots ignorance. Right? So there's an ethical reason for engaging in the cultivation of wisdom. So by understanding emptiness, we find that the world that we inhabit is not external to us, right? Held at an arm's length, but rather, you know, everything that we're experiencing is a product of our consciousness, right? It's our minds coming into contact with an object and then projecting a response, interpreting, projecting a response, right? Through discrimination, we say, what is it? Through our feelings, our capacity to feel, we either have a positive reaction, a negative reaction, or just kind of like a neutral reaction, right? But we feel something when we come into contact with the sensation of, you know, hot water on the tongue, right? Whatever it is, your cup of coffee in the morning. So we project a response based on that interaction with things. So everything arises in dependence with our minds. So we have the responsibility, we have the ability, this is the good news, right, to control our minds. We have a choice, and our choices make a difference. We can consciously uproot the ignorance that causes so much suffering. Since we live in community with others, our mental state, our emotions, right? This is not a surprise, have a deep impact on the people around us. If somebody is having a bad day, it becomes everybody's bad day, right? It's as though we're always armed. It's like we're always carrying around a gun loaded with bullets. Bullets of hate, bullets of fear, bullets of bias. And we're ready to shoot at the slightest perceived insult or threat. Am I right? We're always looking for an enemy, someone to shame and blame. Like the pandemic, right? It started off where we were blaming the Chinese. We talked about the Kung flu, right? And there were many attacks on Asian Americans, and there still are many attacks on Asians, or people who are mistaken to be Asian. There's still many people who blame the Chinese for causing the virus. And then other people blame the Mexicans for bringing it over the border, right? There's that too. Then we blame the unvaccinated. We blame the anti-maskers. So we need to look at that tendency in our own minds. We need to be aware of that habit. Because if we don't know ourselves, then we suffer unnecessarily. So we need to just stop and ask, who am I? How do I exist? It's this false notion of an independently existing self that's the source of suffering. So other than our own aging bodies, our own ever-changing minds, think of all that tirade of thoughts, emotions, changing every moment. Feeling hot, cold, angry, peaceful. There's no essential, eternal self out there. Instead, we exist interdependently on our ancestors, the parts of our bodies, on the food, the air, the warmth, the rhythm of the natural world. We exist interdependently with our families, our teachers, our Sangha. So it's not that things don't exist at all. It's not that we don't exist at all. It's that we lack inherent existence. And that's why change is possible. Okay. So now Geshe was here. I can do the second point, the how to meditate on happiness.
Yeah, you can do that.
What do you think?
Yeah, we can continue to that. Sorry, I just get late. I have some online going on here. Will be continuous after 11:30. So therefore I get late. That request I will learn. Please, you can let it.
Just finish.
Yeah.
So this is short. So how do we meditate on emptiness, right? So this is something that we can jump in and do right now. Right? It's not something that you have to study for many years before you can start meditating on emptiness, right? This is something that we need to start doing right now. And what it comes down to is just quickly. So first we need to prepare our minds, right? Just as if you have, if you're a gardener, a lot of us are gardeners, you need to prepare the garden before you can plant your vegetable seeds, plant your flowers, right? And so we prepare our minds through two things through purification and the accumulation of merit. So what does that include? So first, there's any action that's done specifically with the motivation, the intention to help others is engaging in virtue. And that's how we please the Buddhas, right? By caring for others. As Geshe Rinpoche always says, just offering a single morsel of food with this intention of, pure intention of helping others accumulates, incredible, limitless amounts of virtue, merit. There are also more formal ways of engaging in purification, such as deity practices, such as Vajrasattva, which some of you may already be doing or may know of. And then also meditation on emptiness and bodhicitta. That in and of itself is a very, very powerful, perhaps the best way of purifying negativities and accumulating merit. Also for meditating on emptiness, so practicing guru yoga. So seeing the guru as your teacher, your root lama, as being inseparable from the deity practice you're engaged in. Right? And the foundation of that guru deity yoga practice is the meditation on emptiness. It's how you can gain an experiential feeling, taste of emptiness on the basis of the subtle body, the subtle mind, using the winds and energy that we as human beings are so fortunate to possess. And then studying the texts, the commentaries on emptiness over and over again. Of course, that's extremely, extremely important, because you can't sit down to meditate if you don't have an accurate understanding of how and what to meditate. Okay? It's not just sitting down and meditating with a blank mind on nothingness. Rather, it's very important to lay the groundwork for your meditation by understanding emptiness in a very clear fashion. So it's like a cyclical, it's a dynamic process, right? So you do some study on emptiness, right? You come to Geshe-la's classes, you learn about emptiness, then you go back and then you do your meditation practice where you concentrate your mind, right? So there's a meditative stability practice. And then you continue, right? And you continue to analyze and study emptiness. And then you continue at the same time to perfect your meditation, your concentration. Using that meditative concentration as a platform, then you can perfect your understanding and insight. So it's not something that you just do it once and then you put it aside, right? You have to keep going. So I just want to close with a quote from Geshe Rinpoche. He's giving a commentary on the Shantideva as a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. And in the last class, somebody asked Rinpoche, he said, what's the best way to meditate on emptiness? And this is what he said. He said, generally speaking, meditation is a cultivation of a particular view. When meditating on emptiness, the best way is to take to mind the view that nothing has an atom of true existence. It's also the best way because it's unique. This is a prasangika view of emptiness, right? So only the prasangika school, tenet school, posit the absence of inherent existence. So just contemplate this one thought over and over and over again, that nothing has an atom of true existence. Cultivate the worldview that entails emptiness. And then, so you use that as a starting point. Just that one bare thought, right? And then as you're doing this, then naturally questions are going to arise. So you're going to study the texts, you're going to listen to teachings, You're going to find good teachers like Geshe and ask all those difficult questions that I can never think of. And then you engage in analysis to fill in the gaps, right? So Geshe said, you got to do the work. You got to meditate and analyze over and over again to improve, to refine your understanding. So that after each time, after each session, your understanding becomes more and more refined. And then you go back and meditate some more. That's it for me.
That's it. Okay. Okay, good morning again. So maybe why not let continues meditate on emptiness, right? Usually when we do like understanding emptiness or realizing emptiness, there's two kind of different things, right? So understanding emptiness, that you're studying and reflections, and then you understand what is emptiness, right? And then realizing emptiness is like an experience to when you have an experience of emptiness or wisdom, then that's the point that help you to change so many things. They help you to eliminate all these obscurations, right? So there's two kind of things. Either even like you understanding emptiness or having realization of emptiness, it's necessary to accumulate many virtues, or like your body, speech, mind, more transformed to the positive is necessary. Look at like once you look at the, if you want to look at the essence of or center of the flower, or like I say onions, then you have to peel all this other outside of like each layer you have to take out, right? Each petal you have to take out, then you can see the essence or center one. So therefore, understand the essence. This emptiness is the essence of our Buddhist Buddhism, and because this is the best antidote for eliminating all the cause of suffering. So therefore, as the essence, then understanding it, that you need to like change a lot of all your negative actions, negative thought, and change to the having more positive, that we call accumulate method. So that's a very important part. It's not only that you're working hard to study, or you're reading again and again book, or you're listening again and again teaching of emptiness. It will not really help you to clear understand. So the accumulating merit is the very important part of that, the understanding emptiness. So people will not really see the relation between these two, because why I need to accumulate merit? Because I study here emptiness, then why I'm not understand that? So because it's too profound subject, and then having experience, it's even more difficult to get that. So therefore, it's all this master, including Buddha and our previous master, keep instructed to us. It's important to what call accumulate merit. Our Losang, our lineage founder, so you can see the center one, the 2, 3, the center one, Losang we call it. He's the founder of our lineage. So he directly sees the Manjushri. The Manjushri, do we have here? Okay, where's it? Other side? Okay, the Manjushri is there. We call this wisdom Buddha, right? Wisdom Buddha. So he's Buddha. And then Lama Tsongkhapa was seeing him directly and getting instruction from him. So, and he taught a lot about emptiness. And then Lama Tsongkhapa took a lot of note at the time. And then Lama Tsongkhapa asked Manjushri, say, so I don't understand what you're talking today. And Manjushri said, don't worry. As you have a note, keep that note and go to retreat and try do three things, right? So accumulate merit as much as you can, and also keep read the book, and then also meditate with the union of the guru and deities of Geshe, right? So these three, you continue to do it, then it'll help you. So he almost month doing this. I think it's more than a month. I'm not sure the exact time period, how long he did it, this retreat. And then one day in his dream, the Buddha Palita is one of the this 17 Pandit. So he's Indian scholar, around I think 7 centuries, right? So he's Indian scholar, and then he composed a textbook, commentary for Nagarjuna's main textbook, right? So he wrote the one textbook about emptiness. So, and then in Lama Tsongkhapa dream, he bringing this textbook and giving to him, Lama Tsongkhapa, and he hold it, and then he reading some line in there. Then at the morning, he feel very good, and then he go back again. He continues reading that book, that Buddha Palita, that called, the text name is Buddha Palita. So he always reading it, many times reading it. So, and after that, he went back to read it again. And then some lines really gives him like a brightness or a realization of emptiness. At the kind of like it looks like it's popped it up, not really, but it's because it takes time, the long process to realizing it, right? So then at the time he sees some line, and then immediately he realized the emptiness. So, and then so that same day he composed one praise to Buddha Shakyamuni we call dependent origination. Praise to Buddha Shakyamuni by dependent origination. It's very beautiful poetry. Talks about emptiness. So he wrote that at the same time. So anyhow, so that's how he realized it. And sometime our master realizing emptiness when we think individual, like individual things, like say, this is the one monk use, right? We call Dima. And some Lama look at the Dima and then see, oh, this all dependent cause and condition. So many like details in all dependent cause and condition. Sometimes look at the Dima and then they realize emptiness. But they knows all about emptiness, but the realization is different, right? So sometimes people look at some material things and thinking and keeps researching or keep reflecting on it. What really this is? And then they see more detail than all detail, and then see there are many parts of that, like say, if I pointed the camera, right? So camera has many details here, many different parts, include this small, tiny screw, right? So, but when we look at that immediate, we will not see all this part. We see just one camera, right? If you look at the detail, that there are many parts. So as knowing that this is just camera means collected of many parts together, and then we call it camera, but not really that each parts are camera and all just even not just combine all these things are camera, right? That when they think that they realize emptiness. There are many different ways to realize emptiness. Sometime when the first time realize emptiness, they get scared. For example, again, one of our master, whose name is Lobsang, and then it's around 14th century. He's Lama Tsongkhapa's disciple. While Lama Tsongkhapa was teaching emptiness, and all these disciples there, and then actually Lama Tsongkhapa was teaching selflessness, emptiness of self. It means the self is lack of independent existence. That's Lama Tsongkhapa teaching. And then while he just continues listening it, and then he's just grabbing his like a cushion like this, right? And Lama Tsongkhapa realized, because when we think that selflessness, they're kind of a no self, then it's really scared to make them, they was grabbing, right? And Losang at the same time to talk more dependent origination. Self is not completely nothingness. Self is something, it's dependent origination. Then he get more relaxed. So that's the many way to realize emptiness. And then important parts I'm saying, yes, need to accumulate merit as much as you can in order to understand emptiness or in order to realizing emptiness. Definitely, right? So therefore, today we can little bit meditate with the selflessness, which is part of the emptiness. The emptiness we call the emptiness of self, right? That's how we say it. Emptiness of self. Yeah, emptiness of self and emptiness of phenomena. If you understand emptiness of self, then all this reason, all these ideas are same that you can apply to phenomena. Are understand they are natural emptiness. That's not how it. If you understand with the one object, how is lack of inherent existence, how it is like a merely just concept, right? If you understand with the one individual object, there's a lot of help you to understand with the other objects. So therefore, we can just leave it to with the self, right? Say there are 4 steps actually. The 4 steps which I'm leading the meditations. The first stage is we really have to recognize it, find it out how I identify the self, how I thinking myself in natural way. So and then yeah, I know this is a very short period of time to take your time to think in this. You might not realize or you might not identify how you are thinking yourself. Even you think whole day, it's possible not realize it. So so therefore, I can give you some kind of hints or I give you some kind of idea that how we think ourselves, how we identified ourselves, right? So we are identifying self is that owner of body and mind. Self is who is controlling and who's using the body and mind, right? So who is enjoying with the body and mind. That means self is separate than body and mind, isn't that right? That's how we think it. Make sure that you understand, right?
Could you repeat that again? I did miss the beginning of the sentence. The self is the what?
I mean, self is who's owner of body and mind.
Owner, somebody that controls the body and mind.
I own this microphone, right? I own, I own, right? And they are object and subject, right? So that's 2 different things, right? What things own and who own, 2 different things. So therefore, self is who own the body, speech, mind. And the body, speech, mind is the things, object that what belongs to self. 2 like separating, that's how we think it actually, isn't that? Right? We think it. So this is how we are thinking. Self is totally separate than what we hear, right? That's we said wrong view. We say wrong view. So how is wrong view? Because in general, when you identified, when you knowing, recognize each other, John or Mary, first you seeing their body, right? And then you say, oh, you are John or you are Mary. So the body is the very much that involved to identifying the self, each other. So now this is the way to do it, but actual we are thinking separated than body. Then if you are just seeing body like form, right, each other form, and you are saying, oh yeah, I recognize who you are you really recognize the self? No, that means you are not recognizing the self, because you keep thinking self is separate than what you're seeing it. That you recognize it just form there, not the self, because you have a wrong view, which is thinking self is separate than body and mind. Make sense? What do you think? Just confirming it. You are like how you are thought. What do you think? Make sense for you? Okay. So that's the conflict we have it. Therefore, in general, yes, that shouldn't be exit, which is thinking self is separate than body, separate than mind, right? So that's the one part. You have to make sure I'm saying we call it wrong view. We call it mystic thinking, misconception, which is thinking self is separate than body and mind. Okay? It's misconception, it's wrong view, right? And we are just talking about how you're thinking, okay? We are not just talking about actual what things are, right? We are talking how you identify, how you thinking the self. That part is wrong view. It means not saying you are wrong, right? It means not saying you are not exit. Yes, self does exit. But self does exit. But what things is not exit is how you think it the self is not exit. Because you are thinking completely separate than body and mind. That's the first we have to understand clear on it. This is the object we should negate it while we're meditating emptiness. Right? Meditating emptiness, something you are negating, rejecting it. Then you will see what the essence is. Right? You're peeling the onions and throwing this and there, and you can seize the essence. So therefore, something that you have to negate it, this is the wrong view, which we should negate it. When we negate it or when we reject it, that identifying our thing, how we identify the self, but same time shouldn't negate it the self, or you don't have to think about self, right? So only that negating this. So therefore, very important to know it or recognize it, which you really rejecting, eliminating, right? So this is the things. Like say, let's say if you some thieves comes in your house, right? And there are a few people there. One of them is stealing something. Then you come in inside your house, and you see there's something missing. There are a few people there. Then you cannot blame all this. What do you need to do? You have to find it out who did steal it. Then you can kick it out, or you can do so many things, right? You have to exactly know who's stealing it. Same way, you have to exactly know what you negated, what you want, or what you have to negate. Therefore, we keep emphasizing saying the object of negation is wrong view, which is thinking self is separate than body and mind. Okay, clear? So let's say take 1 minute for clear on it. what I explain it is it's makes sense for you or not. Just confirm it. Okay. So how we identify. Or you might have some different. No. I don't identify that way. I identify this way. You can say that after you reflect it. Okay. So take 1 minute to reflect it on and make sure what I said. Or you could be you have a different perspective. Please let us know after you get. Okay. Okay. So thank you. So then now, do you agree with it or you have a different thoughts to identify yourself? Uh-huh.
If you say that self is body and mind, so I can do body and mind and self.
Self is avoiding mind. What's it?
And you use both words in interchangeable.
Yeah, maybe Shobha, I think we don't need this. Do you think we need this? I think we need this. So, the temperature is good outside actually.
My question is, if self is body and mind together, well, self is body and mind is connected or is not connected. It is body and mind can be used both words, both concepts together. I mean, independent, interchangeable.
Oh, you mean the mind and self?
The mind and body.
Mind and body.
Yeah. When you say mind and body, it means self.
No, I said how we thinking. How we thinking is self is separate than body and mind.
How we thinking body and mind.
Okay, self is we thinking separate than body and mind because say I'm using my body. I'm using my mind. I as a subject, what using object is body. Two separate things. Right? I'm using my pepper. I'm using pepper here. The pepper is separate than me.
Right.
I'm subject.
Right.
Pepper is object.
Yeah.
Now self is subject. Body is object.
Self is subject, body is subject. Yeah.
And then separate. That's how we think it.
Right, but it shouldn't be like that.
Shouldn't be like that. Yeah, I'm saying it. That is wrong view, right? So it not shouldn't be that like that. Then what is? Then we have to do next time. Okay. So our next step. So.
Sorry. So I'm coming at this from the view of dependent arising.
and that beings and phenomena that have components cannot be existing inherently.
Mhm.
I can conceive of how the body has many components. I can conceive that speech has many components. But I don't understand that mind has many components, except that it relies on the body.
Okay, at least you have one mind there, right?
Yes,
That's enough now. So that mind is separate than self or not. We don't need to go detail of body. We don't need to go detail of mind, because this is not what we're doing right now. We only try to understand how I identifying the self. This is the only we are thinking right now. So at least you know that one mind is there, right? This is enough. That mind is that separate than self. That's we thinking it, right? That's we thinking it. Because I am thinking means thinking mind is who are controlling by self. I am thinking. I'm not thinking, right? So self is controlling the mind. When self is controlling the mind, self should be separate than mind, right? That's not how we're thinking it actually. That's the things I asked you to confirm it, to clear it. So you all confirmed? What do you think? Okay, so anyone in online? You know things? Okay, that's fine then.
thank you.
So, but if you are clear, what I explained it earlier, to self is separate than body and mind, self is controlling body and mind. Now, if I ask you what is self, then what your answer is?
I think self, I just try to, when you say self is myself, is mind and body all together. And it is,
What do you think? Just let me know what you think it, instead of asking me question.
oh, okay, I think it's, I am part of the universe. And whatever I do, I think is me, is my, so my
Yes,
action and my
yes,
thinking,
you.
my action and my thinking has to be, it's not even together, it's actually merge. It's like
Merge body and mind.
Merge and mind cannot even distinguish what is body and what's mind. Then you are you are one of a little bit of the whole universe that is floating there and depends. I
How come you are the one of the whole universe?
a little bit of.
You are not part of tree. You are not part of earth. You are not part of rock. You are not part of space.
I have to be something.
But how you thinking that I have to be something, So, but mainly you're saying combination of body and mind is self.
Yes, so.
That's you're saying, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So, what do you think about self? And then just let you know why we're talking that, looking at self, because we have a very problem with the self in the daily life, right? How we come attachment to ourselves and others, how we have an anger to self and others, because you are viewing self as something different than what is actual. So therefore, it's that you have anger, that you have a desire, jealousy, all these things, the cause of suffering. Then of course, the leftover is only the suffering, right? So, check out.
Someone said, my view is that self is not body. I can imagine mind or awareness without body. What I think or feel is that I may be projecting a body, but not a mind. I cannot project mind. I can project thought. But actual mind, if mind is defined as mere awareness, is not possible to project. It just is.
Yeah, Shiva, can you want help? So two Tibetan come outside, they will come to, they'll pass away someone, their relative. So can you tell them to wait, or you can ask Sindhu and Geshe to something like that?
Oh, I can go.
Oh, no, sorry.
Tripella, you stay. Tripella, I'll go. You stay.
To Shianida. Okay, so the question is not thinking the body is self. The self is more awareness in the mind, right? Without body,
I can imagine mind or awareness.
without body can imagine. Without brain, you can imagine mind. How? Without brain, can we imagine the body and mind? How we can imagine it? Need some kind of basis to imagine it. You are using body to imagining, but it's saying you are without that. How come? That I'm not really clear on it. That so without brain you are imagining. You without brain you are thinking, right? For me, it's not make sense though.
What happened? One died. One died.
This is
lost the
different
body.
part. Yeah, this is
Okay.
different part. So I will come. I'll come to that. Okay. So okay. However, this is I'm saying it's very important to realize how you're thinking and identify how yourself is. More the reality way, more the actual how it exists. How much we see the clear, that much we relax, right? How much we knows, that much we are confidence. How much we are not knowing, then it's difficult. Say in dream, we have a lot of stress in dream because of very bad dream. Then having a lot of stress and even you're swelling your body, even in the, you are sleeping, right? So it's happening, right? So you have a very bad dream. So, and when you wake up, open your eyes, how you feeling?
Terrible. Relief.
Good, it is dream,
Good.
right?
Yeah.
Very good, it's just dream, it's not real, it's dream. It really makes you relax, right? Exactly the happening when you realize the emptiness. It's because we are in the dark now. We are in a dream. So many things happening with us in daily life, right? Up and down. There are many different types of suffering. So, and then realization of emptiness, or even like a slightly understanding of emptiness, it makes you open your eyes. Then you say, oh yeah, it's fake. Oh yeah, it's not necessary to have that much attachment. But it's not necessary to have that anger because it's just illusion. That's the you will understand. Once you understand that, then of course it's like eliminated the cause of suffering. Then this is the beginning part of the having more peace day by day, right? Therefore, we keep talking this. This is the very profound one, but very useful one. So I don't know how much you understand that part, but therefore just make sure that clarifying it. Okay. So go back here then. Yeah, the body. If this is separate, how we think it, then again go back to think. Isn't that we're saying I am aging? Isn't that we're saying I am illness? I'm having illness and sickness, right? Actual, your body having sickness, your bodies are aging. Same time you think I am aging. Is this wrong or right? When you say I'm aging, when you say I'm sick, it's wrong or right?
Wrong, is your body,
What's that?
is wrong.
No, I'm asking you it's wrong or right. So usually everyone commonly accept it, right? Say I'm sick.
Yeah.
And then doctor test it, giving you medicine.
Yeah.
Everyone accept it. I'm sick.
Mhm.
And then it looks like it's not wrong. You are saying right. You are sick. But actual, your body having some problem, right? But same time you say I'm sick. That much have a strong related your body and mind.
Okay. So it's the same thing that if your body is healthy, your mind is sick, you can say.
Same way, same way, yeah. So you have like a mental illness, you have a stress, right? Then you say, yeah.
I think it's not even mental illness. How about our thinking that is not pure or not clear or not?
Thinking is not pure. Can you more elaborate
It's
that?
like you're thinking on hating someone or
Hating someone.
right.
That's like a, yeah, this is like a defilement. This is like an unpure mind.
So it is considered sickness of the mind.
Yeah, it's depend. We regarding Buddhism says yes, we all have illness of the mind. We all having mental illness. that's we said because we all have anger, right? And then we do have a mental illness. We are mental illness. So yeah, that's we can talk separately. That's yeah, we said that. But yes, that because as we're saying, I'm sick. I'm aging, as a body is aging and body is having illness. So everyone accept it, it's nothing wrong. Then when you say I'm sick, then you are feel that your body is you. Because I'm sick, right? So your body is you. That's not how we have a conflict. When we express our like a daily life and how we thinking it's, so you are saying, yes, I'm sick. That means your body is you. But when you say, like, when you really identify it, you are identifying separate than body. Because it's kind of like a controlling body, right? Right? So I'm using my body. I'm having strength for my body. So strength for my body. Even use it with two different complete language. My body and I am sick. Isn't there two conflict things? Which is right and which is wrong? Both of them cannot be right. It has to be one thing is wrong. Which is wrong then?
I am sick is wrong.
That's a confusion. You were saying body is not separate from self, but we are incorrectly saying I am sick when it is the body that is sick. Is it not true that if body is self, then we are identifying self as body?
Okay, the first thing is make clear, I did not say I is body, body is I. Clear, right? I did not say that. We're investigating what is it. There are no statement, right? So another things, that's why I keep saying, when we identify the body, then we say, I recognize you as a self, right? So therefore, at the moment, we are thinking body is self. So therefore, you should find between these two, my body and I am sick. Which is right and which is wrong? There's two conflict thought we have it. My body means like you something honor and belongs to your body. Two separate things. I am sick. And now body is you. Which is right, which is wrong? That's how we need to think. And then you say, I'm sick is right, right? Then you said it?
Why you asking my body is sick compared with I am sick, right? Which one is right?
No, my body, that's the sometimes we talk. I need strength for my body. Right? When you say that, same time you're thinking body is something I belongs it. My body, my book, my paper, my cup, my body, right? Body is something I belongs to. When you say that, same time you're thinking that. But I am sick. Now you're thinking body is me. Body is I am sick. Actually, your body ain't sick.
Yeah.
But I am sick. Your body is you now. When you say that. So two conflicting things we have it. And I say which is really right, which is wrong. Shouldn't be both are right.
I think that it's right when you say I am sick, because then
Okay.
yourself belongs, your mind and your body belong to self, and you're saying that.
Belongs to self, that's fine. But
And
when you
it's
say
self,
I am sick,
that
it's
means
right, right?
I'm sick is right.
If I'm sick is right, then body is me, body is I,
Body
or I is body.
Body and mind is one thing.
Is body is you.
Body is me, and mind is me too.
Okay, it's
Together.
mine and both body is you, right?
Yes.
Now both body and mind is self.
Yes,
Okay.
is that right?
I am. We are investigating now.
Okay.
We will not really concluded. Okay, so we are investigate. Don't be hurried. Don't be rushed. Don't be not to be rushed. Just take time. That's okay. So, if say like okay, the body is I,
Mhm.
right? And then say you have many part of body.
Yeah.
Hands, shoulders, legs, stomach, back, this is all body, right?
Mhm.
And then do you have many cells?
No. Oh.
Do you because you have a many part of body. And all are cell,
Mhm.
right? All are cell.
Oh,
Therefore, you have a many cell.
And say, let's say, if you're missing legs, it's still
Uh-huh.
self. You're not less self.
So then how you can say,
So it is not counting on things.
You know.
What you have inside or what you have.
if, and again, go back to mind. Usually we say, if mind is you, right? Then someone comes to you, then say, okay, my mind is much sharper and better than you. Can we change the mind? Then what are you going to expect? The response for that. Say some are, they have a good mind and sharp mind, positive mind, right? Someone has it.
Mhm.
I think I don't know, it's possible or not possible to change it, but I'm taking as example, it's possible, like, right?
Exactly, your mind, I want your mind.
Then, yeah, if I come to you, can we change our mind? Then what can we say?
I think learn from you and.
No.
develop
My question is, can we change our mind?
You would
Yeah,
be a
you
different
can.
person if you changed your mind.
You may physically put my brain
Yeah.
on your brain and my brain on my brain, like physically.
No, don't stay in the fact. So I'm giving example, kind of like impossible. This is impossible to change. I know that. But if it is possible, then I'm saying, if it is possible, then I come to you, can we change it mind? Then why couldn't say it?
No.
Why?
I don't know, let me think.
Why
Why
not?
will you change your mind?
No, I know.
You mean exchange.
Exchange. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exchange. As I said, it's impossible. Let's say like a Buddha comes to you,
Mhm.
right? And then Buddha say, can we exchange mind? Can we exchange wisdom?
No,
Why?
because that belongs to Buddha, doesn't belong to me.
No, Buddha willing to exchange to you. If your reason is only that belongs to Buddha, then Buddha is willing to exchange with you.
I would feel like I'm losing myself. I would have someone else's thoughts and perceptions of the world, not mine. So it wouldn't match up to my body. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right? If you, yeah, that's actual, right? The actual, that's mind cannot exchange it, body cannot exchange it, right? But some part of body can exchange it, lung and like a heart, and this can be exchanged it. But generally body cannot exchange it. Generally mind cannot exchange it. That I know. That's I know. We are not talking that. I'm bringing some kind of impossible. I don't know. This is like a good example for you or not. So let's say then, okay. So okay. Are you accept the future life, previous life? Okay. So then, if your mind is you, then your previous life has a mind, right? Your future life has a mind, and present life has a mind. This three mind is connected or totally separate.
It's connected, but it can be,
But definitely your previous life mind is not the present mind, right?
but it has a base.
What's that?
I mean, a substance that.
Some kind of continuum there. That's right.
Something
But-
that existed before, and
Yes.
I'm grabbing it now, right?
Yes.
And I'm using that opportunity right now to develop it to another stage of life that might be not born anymore, right? Not born again.
Yeah. So there, my question is: your previous life mind is not the mind which you have right
No.
now, not right?
No.
So it's totally separate.
Mhm.
Then is this your previous life? It's your previous life or not? The previous life is your previous life.
It's not.
It's not your previous life. You don't have a previous life.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. That's good.
That's why we try to collect merits, and we bring.
Yeah, that's what we
karma from
do.
our past life, and we're trying to collect merits
Uh-huh.
so that our future life.
That's how we go, right? Yeah. So we're collecting merit from previous life, then we have a human life, then we bringing more merit for future. That's we do, right?
That's what is left. I don't know.
So yeah, if you don't know, then I'm not going back there to because it's not really helpful to understand that kind of things. So let's say maybe stay with the more stays here. So if your body is you, right? And once you cut your hand,
Mhm.
once you cut your leg,
Mhm.
still you are there.
Yes,
But some part of body is missing.
yes.
It means you are not really missing, right?
No.
You are still there.
Mhm.
Therefore, your hand is not you and leg is not you. What you really want to point of the body that you are, you have to point it. Okay, this body is myself. Because each part are not, right?
It's the mind, it's life itself, isn't it? If you're
No,
the
body.
body,
Yeah.
I think the brain or the mind.
The brain.
When you have a capacity of the thinking and discerning what is right, what's not right.
So now you're thinking brain is you, right?
I'm thinking on the service of the brain.
Service in brain
What
means
the brain is for is you,
when brain is taking action.
right? Taking action.
Okay, when brain is taking, that means action is you, not the brain itself. The brain itself is not you. The brain action is you, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, sorry, it's 11:30. That kind of things we have to do a lot of continuous analyze to find it out or make more clear that we have a wrong view, right? So then it's really help you to open your eyes. Then you can feel everything is real. Okay, so sorry, it's one question, please.
Oh, it's just about the future here. You had told us to end your discussion of emptiness with this session, but we didn't get to the stages of meditation on emptiness, which would be very interesting to do, I think.
Yeah, when we analyze it, this is part of meditation because you're thinking, cultivating something,
Okay.
right? You're rethinking again and again. This is meditation. So we have an analytical meditation, right? This is analytical meditation. So not necessary to close your eyes. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I have to stop in the middle. Still going there. Our panel discussion online, so I have to be there at the end. Okay, see you next time. And then as soon I'm going to change that topic emptiness in Sunday class. You all know that, right? So, and is Gloria there?
Yeah, she's not.
Gloria, I think maybe if I'm not wrong, I saw was on 9th, the Friday 9th that we moving class there. So 9th is my last class with book club. And then follow is Yamataka, and then after that we can start.
Geshe, it's on the 13th. It's not on the 9th.
Oh, okay, 13th is
It's
fine.
the following Thursday. I ended up putting it on your calendar.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I put it on your calendar. You have there's a meditation at the Mark Twain Library, so we'll have to figure that
yeah,
out.
I do have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so
Okay,
much.
I just put it to your calendar this morning. All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. So have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.